We saw it in the media, it came up as a conversation even between students, because we saw schools advocating for it and against it all over Australia, and we wanted to be a part of that. And in what way could we advocate for change?
As an all-boys school, it's very easy to lose sense of, the issues going on around us. We get normalised to certain behaviours and attitudes that, we might not always question. And that's why I feel like it's important to gain that external perspective that calls us to think about, the needs of not just ourselves.
I think it's important to share our voice with a boys' school. Having big female role models at Loreto, it's inspiring, and I think it's important for us to share our stories.
Often, because we're at Rostrevor pretty male-dominated in our perspective, it's important that we kind of had that female perspective from our sister school, and I think it's really important to work with them throughout this initiative.
I think respectful relationships mean to me having good communication. I think it's important in relationships to be on a common ground and be aware of each other's boundaries and being comfortable with each other.
I feel like respectful relationships means it's treating people in essence the way you want to be treated. Well, I feel like what we're trying to achieve is equality for all people, irrespective of gender, race, religion, beliefs. I
think the main thing about respectful relationships is making sure that boys are just as aware as girls about consent, that they're aware that a change needs to happen, that what has happened in the past is wrong, and that they're just as much involved in advocating for a change as we are.
I think it can be quite tricky, especially for females, having certain stereotypes and expectation placed on them by social media, which is why I think it's so important for women especially to share their stories and speak up on what they believe in, and to push those boundaries and call out things when they aren't being heard.
What are the traits that some men and some people in general just exhibit that are detrimental to women and people of other genders? When trust is given, it must also be honoured. It leaves many people vulnerable, and I think understanding the devastating impact that a breach of consent can have upon someone, it's just unfathomable to even consider. When we're called to, call out behaviours, not abide by gender stereotypes, it's not a knock on us, it's just a call for us to be better versions of ourselves.
Well, I think that just promoting the topic in itself and talking about it is, letting the younger girls know that this is okay to talk about and it's not something that you need to hide from. We're stamping our foot down and we want to make a change. We want to tackle the issue, so I think it's important not only for the school to acknowledge in the community, but just the boys to know that certain things are not acceptable, and it's important that we work through it together.
I think right now the best thing we can do as an all-boys school and as a culture is, educate ourselves on different opinions, and then being able to see eye to eye with, a female perspective. The older students are definitely role models to the junior years. So I think the best thing we can do is start behaving in a way which we deem to be acceptable and which we would want the younger kids to follow. From both Rostrevor and Loreto's perspective, I don't think this has been done before. So I think it's really the start of a different culture and a different mindset, and then, it sparks a conversation within the community.
How can we as students be comfortable in having that conversation? Because that's how a change is going to happen. It's not going to happen when, our principal is going to talk to the students about it and then that's it. It happens when we as students talk to other peers, and then a change, like setting an example is what it means.
Educating, so that's the first step after the statement. So educating boys, we're mainly looking at year 12s, 11s and 10s at the moment. So either going into religion classes or more of a whole year level gathering type thing with smaller discussion.
I think it's important to have open forums and to keep this conversation going.
And to continue to ask, how do we impact the people in our lives? Can we improve upon it? How can we be respectful human beings at the end of the day? We prophesise that mantra of, being men for others, but I think we understand that at the heart of a good man comes being a good human.
In solidarity, Rostrevor College and Loreto College recognise the importance of respectful relationships.
We are committed to be a part of the movement towards change where all individuals feel valued, safe and respected.